everyone. So in this video we'll talk about Deepak Fertilizers and what are the recent developments that have happened and how is the stock looking fundamentally as well as technically. Okay, so let's get started. So first we'll look at the business verticals of the company. So mostly they are in three different verticals, and also if you have tracked this particular company, you know that they are doing a demerger in which they are listing each of them into three different verticals. That is, one is industrial chemicals, which has all the isopropyl alcohol, the nitric acid and the methanol, right? Then comes the mining sector, which is TAN. They are the only producer of TAN in India, right? And then comes the fertilizer business, right? So this should happen, like the approval should come in the month of July as per what the MD says, right? And probably the listing will happen later, right? So let's get to know what are the recent developments that are happening. So they are ready to commission their ammonia plant, which should be up and running in probably, so as per the previous interviews, right, what they were saying is by May or June it should be ready and it should open. But I think we are now at end of June, and anytime now the news can come in that they have finally commissioned the plant. And the best thing is they are saying it has a very low gestation period, so for the smooth running it should be like a few months wherein they start ramping up the capacity, right? So this is what is happening, and we are almost, I mean, at the very end, wherein the commissioning news can come in at any point, right? Which would again have a positive effect on the stock price as well, right? So if you look at why they are going ahead with the ammonia plant, right? So ammonia is the basic raw material for all the three verticals that they have. If you look at the fertilizer business, that needs ammonia. If you look at the TAN thing, that is the mining, that needs ammonia. Even the industrial chemicals need ammonia. Earlier they were importing a lot of it, because of which of the logistic cost itself would add up to like $100, $80 per ton, right? So if ammonia prices, which have now cooled off, why ammonia prices have cooled off? Because of all the Russia thing that has happened. Russia is dumping a lot of ammonia in India because other countries are not really buying it from them. So what they are doing is basically dumping it in India, right? And also the government, what it has done, it has actually stopped India from exporting ammonia, which again means that the ammonia prices have cooled off quite a bit, right? So this should normalize in a quarter or two, right? So once that does, what will happen is, since now they are backward integrating, right, they should, I mean, the margin should definitely increase for Deepak Fertilizers once their ammonia plant is up and running, and also the ammonium prices start moving up. Okay, so this is about the ammonia plant that is coming up, which is actually a positive. And they are also working on the TAN project. So the TAN project should be up and running by FY25, right? Another 1.5 years it would take for that plant to commission, right? So these were the two major projects that they have taken up. One is almost ready for production, the other one is again a year and a half away. Okay, so now coming to the main thing that they are doing is they are moving from commodity kind of a business to speciality chemical kind of a business, right? So in their whatever their existing portfolio was, right, they are now slowly moving into speciality. So what that does, if you look at Deepak Nitrite, so Deepak Nitrite was again in that commodity kind of a thing, and its operating profit margin, if you look at it from 2015 to 2018, it was in that 10-12 range, right? Then they slowly realized that it makes a lot of sense to move into speciality. And once they started doing it, you can clearly see that the margins started to improve. Although the last year was very tough for a lot of chemical companies, the margins declined, but it should go back up to 20 plus kind of percent going ahead. So what this did for the stock is, if you look at the PE of that stock, So we'll go to the PE thing. So if you look at the PE which was around that 10, 12 kind of a PE, once the market realized that now they have moved to a specialty chemical kind of a company, they started giving it a higher multiple of 30 to 40. In that range, they are giving it a much higher P. So that re-rating is very much possible in Deepak Fertilizers when the market finally understands, okay, now it is no longer a commodity business. These guys have moved into specialty chemicals, right? So once that happens, once with the backward integration, it is very much possible that this 5-6 PE kind of moves to at least 20 PE, which itself will be like a 3-4x kind of a re-rating, right? So that is one thing that can happen, and it should happen as they move from commodity to specialty. In all the MD's interview, right, you would clearly hear him say that we are now having that transformation from where we are moving from commodity to specialty. So the P ratio for Deepak Fertilizer has remained in that range, right, 5-6, but eventually that should start moving up. And also the cyclicality isn't really there as of now, because the main products which is bringing in like 85% of the profit is the TAN business and the industrial chemical business, which are doing exceptionally well as India is continuously growing. So mining thing goes into all your cement plants and all of that, right? And even your coal, all that mining requires TAN, plus it goes into infrastructure as well, right? So as long as that part of the business is doing very well, you should continue to see good profits from there. And even the industrial chemicals, like they supply to Aarti Industries and all of that. So as long as industrial chemicals sector is doing very well, they should continue to have very good profits from that. It also, the fertilizer business is not really adding much profits to this thing, so it should not be a real worry as such. Okay, so now if you look at Deepak Fertilizer, what it did was from January 22 to almost, let's say, October 22, when the small cap index was actually falling. So what I've done is comparing the relative strength with the small cap index. So when everything was correcting, Deepak Fertilizer was going up, right? Now that all the small cap is kind of going up, this one has not been such a great performer, so many people are losing interest. So I have marked the supports as of now. So there is a resistance line which is continuously putting pressure on the price, but the supports are also quite close by. So at 530, 515, two supports are there, and the strongest one, in case if this is broken, we are not sure if that would be broken, because pretty decent volumes here, which is again trying to push the stock price up, right? So if this is finally broken out and it enters stage 2, right, chances are it should do very well. Probably once the ammonia plant gets commissioned and all of that, we should see pretty good price movement in this particular stock. So all in all, it is available at a very attractive levels of just 5-6 kind of a P. And because the re-rating thing can happen in the coming days, right, as the market also understands that it is no longer just a commodity business, because if you look at the operating profit margins, right, they have steadily improved, and it should again go above the 20% kind of mark, right? So if you look at it, earlier they were in that single digit, but now it has moved to that 17, 18, 19. So once they start moving about 20-25% kind of operating profit margin, definitely the market will start to take into account that, okay, this is no longer a commodity business, they have moved to specialty, and give it a higher re-rating. So similar thing that happened with Deepak Nitrite can happen with Deepak Fertilizers also. No doubt about the management, since it is the same one, right? We should expect like a decent growth in this particular company, and the re-rating, if it happens, then it can definitely be a big multi-bagger. All right, hope this video helps in analyzing it better. Thank you.